Bases drop, new round of SDH AM. John here, you there. Thanks for dropping by, as you always do. It is a Wall Pass Wednesday, which means anything is on the table, and it usually ends up that there's a lot of stuff that ends up on the table. We're going to spend a lot of time with what happened in Open Cup last night. We have highlights and post in a moment that I think we all need to kind of hang on to just because of the rules of engagement. So we got that to get into. You're going to hear from Rodrigo Rios. You're going to hear from Cooper Sanchez. You got your highlights from Star 94 last night, and that will get you into the round of 8. Draw is tomorrow morning. We will be on the air while it happens, so we will walk through it with you and with the folks that are going to be having said draw. I imagine it's going to be on a footy program that happens in the morning on a network that has multiple networks that deals in golazos at times. So we'll walk through that we'll walk through that tomorrow. We'll walk through the match today. We've also got to get into the news of the morning and everything that happened yesterday that we missed. CONCACAF happened last night. You had another matchup in Open Cup happen last night. You had one of the craziest matches that I could think of in recent memory that happened in Champions League yesterday, which probably means that today with Arsenal and ATLUTD, it's going to be a goalless draw. All the goals ended up with the match yesterday. We'll go into how crazy it was. We've got news to get into as well involving a couple of different things. One of the stories that if you follow us on the 280 that was reminded to us by D. Graham about the Afghan women's national team. We've got to get into that. We've got Manchester City mad about the fixture list. We've got the FA and their response to folks who are trying to show them a causality between headers and CTE. We have that on the table. Hour number 2, Dylan Butler joins us, MLSsoccer.com, unless he is the busiest man in the Northeast and has to discuss lacrosse with folks or whatever spring sport is going on right now. 10:30, we start a bit of our run into the red clay. Joseph Smith, head coach on Brooks County. We get to catch up with him on the girls' side and find out what's going on in Quitman with a growing program there. Both the boys and the girls' teams make it into the postseason, and it was the end of a season for Brooks County's girls yesterday. But we'll get into the program, what it's like to see it grow, and what it's like to have everything roll forward. Losing to LOA yesterday by the final of 4-0. That one was, I think, in Greensboro. But we'll catch up with Joseph Smith. And we'll also catch up, unless Homeroom does another switcheroo on us. We'll catch up with Philip Thomas from River Ridge as River Ridge gets ready for McIntosh. That game is on the network tonight at 7 o'clock. We'll be on a little before. Drew Dickinson and myself will handle studio duties. Jason will have the play-by-play for you from McIntosh down in Peachtree City, and we'll have that one for you, and we'll tour what's going on around the state. Noon, Red Clay. Speaking of McIntosh and River Ridge, 12:30, we have the other half of the equation. It is going to be, I think it's going to be a Bunky Colvin, Brian Messer show. I think both of them are going to be here. If not, we'll talk to one or the other or both. We're going to have the McIntosh point of view coming on at 12:30, and then we'll get you ready for 12:30, going through your brackets, going through your matchups, getting you ready for everything that you might have missed. We had some upsets last night in the GHSA. So we'll get into that at 12:30 as well. But Brooks County girls, River Ridge boys, last half hour of the scheduled 2. And we'll see where else we go this morning. I know that our buddy Ben Jacobs has been busy this morning involving Mikhailo Mudryk and the doping case that is going on at Chelsea. So there's plenty to get into there as well. So good morning, Abby, and good morning, everyone. And it is now, I guess, opening kickoff might be a little elongated. Brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. Start your day with the most important stories in the game, the right way to start your morning. Black Pitch Coffee, part of the SDH community, showing up at events all over Atlanta. Try their home blend made with beans from Brazil and Guatemala. Heavy-bodied, notes of walnut and semi-sweet chocolate, and a rich world-class finish. Opening kickoff, powered by Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. So, opening kickoff, we're going to talk Atlanta United. Might be a bit of a longer opening kickoff than we're used to. But Atlanta United goes up to Matthews last night, and it was, let's just say it was interesting to see the different approaches from the teams that were involved. Oh, shoot, we also got Libertadores and Sudamericana to get into. So you look at the matchups yesterday, and the lineups either showed you confidence in yourself or that you were thinking about as many other things as the average bear. Just to give you an idea, so here's the lineup for Charlotte FC yesterday. Tyler Miller in net, left to right at the back, David Schnegg, Andrew Privet, Ajimong Morrison, and Jack Neely. More on Neely in a bit. Midfield, Luca De La Torre, Jibril Diani, and Aaron John. Up front, Tiger Smalls, Andrew Goodwin, and Leo Abada. So as we caught up with our friend Will Pelagic yesterday, he thought Luca De La Torre might be getting minutes. And he thought that there was going to be some rotation at the back. He did mention Privet, if I remember correctly. So the rotation that Will Pelagic thought might happen somewhat did. No Tim Ream, but the bench, just to give you an idea, the bench was Will Cleary, Kerwin Vargas, Rodolfo Loco, who we talked about, Idan Toklamati, who we talked about, Nymphasa Berkimas, who we talked about, Isaac Walker, and Bai Koulibaly. No Harry Toffolo because of an injured hammy. So then you go to the Atlanta side of things. Jaden Hibbert in net, as is the case in cup competitions where you'll have one keeper specifically for cup. We've seen it a lot. So Jaden in net, left to right, fairly first choice. Baez, Barakal, Mihai, and Tomas Jacob. Midfield, Galarza, who we thought might come in. Jay Fortune and Will Riley. Up front, Fafa and Luke on the wings, and Alexi up top. Bench for Atlanta United. Amador Sanchez, Latte Lot, Ronald Hernandez, Tristan Muyamba, Lucas Hoyos, and Saba. Excuse me. I didn't hydrate this morning. So that's what you were looking at. And Dean Smith, by the way, I'm just noticing this. Did Dean Smith only go, well, unless Isaac Walker was the backup keeper? Yeah, I think Isaac Walker was the backup keeper. For a second, I was like, does he have a backup keeper on his game day? But so those are your starting 11s. And so you end up with the approach for Tata Martino and the staff being, shall we say, slightly different than it was in Charlotte. Morning Dell, morning David, morning Lokeville. So let's get you into the activity, and if you are into the readings materials, you can go to soccerdownhere.net. My postmortem, Maddie's version. Longview will be coming up in just a bit. But Atlanta in control for the most part. Literally, 4th minute pressure gets an early chance. 8th and 9th minute, you have Luke Brennan driving down the right-hand side. He was creating problems with his speed, created a corner, and the chip by Alexei Miranchuk at Tyler Miller was kind of a precursor for moments to come. Elias Baez gets stepped on by Morrison. You get a chip cross that's a header. You get a foul by Abada that creates a free kick for Alexei. The flick on was a great idea. Just missed Luke Brennan at the backside. You had a goal kick. First 17 minutes, 4 shots for Atlanta, none for Charlotte. Then Alexei pairs off with Tomas Jacob at the edge of the 18. Shot ends up being high. Galarza had a long ball that kind of challenged Tyler Miller. Atlanta was using big switches to try to expose Charlotte on the flanks. And they were doing it a lot. We'll get into the numbers after we're done here with the highlights and things. So you get to the 22nd minute, and you end up with a moment where Atlanta United finally gets on the board, courtesy of I was close. Star 94 and Atlanta United.
Left wing to Schnegg. And Schnegg will drop it back to Privet now, who's playing left center back. Skipped across on the far side to Morrison. Still on the edge of Charlotte's defensive third. Will play it ahead to John. Flicked over to Neely on the far touchline. Back to John. Back further to Morrison, who gives it away now at the halfway line. Fortune has it in front of center circle and flicks it ahead to Luke Brennan. Brennan slowly down the middle. Stops 40 yards from goal. Drop back to Fortune. Down the middle now, Moranchuk. To Brennan again at the top of the arc. To Moranchuk, right of the arc. Dribbles into the box. Chip! Score! What a chip by Alexei Moranchuk to find the left upper 90, and Atlanta United opens the scoring in the 22nd minute.
Moranchuk went for that earlier in the match, and it didn't come off. He's got the confidence right now to go for the same sequence again. He gets a lot of help from Luke Brennan through the middle. Moranchuk peels off to the right side of Brennan, gets the defender where he wants, leaning to one side, and Moranchuk with the fall away, maybe gets a little bit of a deflection. You'll take it. Alexei, the smooth operator, 1-0 Atlanta.
And that is, in fact, very, very true, that he is, in fact, this.
No need to ask, he's a smooth operator. Smooth operator.
Nah, yeah, we had to make that happen. So that is now in the system. So when we have AM 5-9 moments to talk about, Sade is going to help us from now going forward. And thank Maddie for that, by the way. So 6-0 shots at that point for Atlanta United, getting the goal in the 22nd. Luke combines with Galarza again at the back post. Alexei and Fafa, the through ball by Alexei in the 27th minute was bordering ridiculous. Then you have, basically it takes Charlotte 30 minutes to get the engine warm. They have their best sequence. And then Will Riley getting help from Matias Galarza defensively. And in a moment in the 34th that we got to kind of hang on to here for a little bit. Because you do not have VAR in Open Cup, you have moments like we had in the 34th minute where if the center ref is not in a good position and the ARs are not in a good position, you end up with nothing happening from a moment like this. Jack Neely in the match last night on, I'll say it, defense.
Is off the throw. It's spiked off the touchline by Jakob. It's going to bounce onto the left wing. And Baez, hit hard, heads it forward. Did the referee spot anything? It's knocked out for a throw by Morrison. That looked like a really high hit that Baez was taken out on, and I think the referee did see it.
I'm not sure if he's calling anything, though. Moranchuk immediately ran over to the referee as the captain. They're appealing to the AR.
I mean,
that felt very late.
With no play on the ball whatsoever.
No. And I don't think they're going to give any kind of punishment for that. We're getting another look at it now as Neely is extremely late, and that's dirty and should be a red card.
That is a red card. That is an intentional right shoulder or left shoulder into a defenseless Baez. The ball was already away. That should be a red card for Neely. There is no VAR in the U.S. Open Cup.
The referee didn't get a look at it. The AR didn't get a look at it. That is a cheap shot. That's a dirty hit. And Jack Neely better be looking for a receipt.
Yeah, and it was very wise of Dean Smith to remove Jack Neely later in the match. And literally, this is something that we have to keep an eye on. Neely lasted 45 minutes. Well, Cleary came in and started the second half, by the way. So Neely, for those of you who missed it, since we're not showing the video, since we don't have the permissions yet from CBS Sports Network and the Open Cup, Baez and Neely go up to challenge for a ball. Baez goes up first. Neely basically comes through, leading with his shoulder, and he looked over his left shoulder to kind of size up what the situation was in his surroundings. So he sizes up Baez and basically plows through him with the left half of his body. It was cheap. No card, period. And there were other moments in this match that should have had cards. And I know that some of them were, judgment calls, what have you. But when you have a moment like we had in the 34th, what that does is it also sets the bar for you going forward. So, okay, if this happens, then if it happens again later by Charlotte or in retaliation, then in theory it should be no card, no foul, no nothing. And there were other moments in the match where the officiating crew was not in good position to make calls on cards that should have been cards. So this crew was out of position at times, should have made calls, and I know that when it comes to VAR in the Open Cup, if you can't have it at every venue, then you can't have it at any venue. And I think that if the relationship continues with Paramount or Parabros or whatever you want to call it after the merger gets approved, if it continues with Parabros to the level that you would like for it to, I think you have to get to a point to where you introduce VAR maybe in this stage, because for the most part, you're going to be in venues that can handle multiple cameras, strategic positioning, all of those things that we're associated with. The replay was there, and it was shown last night on CBS Sports Network on the Neely play, plowing into Baez. Should have been a red card. Was not. The play later, north of 90 plus, that we'll get into after the highlights and before we get into post, another moment that should have had a card, should have been a red. We'll get into that coming up in a second. I'm going down the timeline here. So Jack Neely, very lucky to not have even been carded yellow when he should have been carded red. Charlotte, very lucky that they continued to play with 11 for the remainder of the first half. But I would make a point to U.S. Soccer that you get to a point in your tournament where if everyone has the capability to house proper cameras and you're in Atlanta or in Dallas or in South Florida or wherever, and yes, I know that the idea also is to have multiple matches happening at the same time, and so you would need to have multiple crews available at the same time. MLS does it. So maybe you go to where MLS does their viewing in Dallas, sit everybody in rooms, do it there. But you've got to get to a point in the tournament where I think you have to have VAR because the games matter that much more. I'm not saying, and I'm not dismissing the early rounds because we get our share of cup sets and we get to talk about it. But what I'm saying is you're playing to get into a quarterfinal at this point. You're in the round of 16. The venues, and so I'm going to go and check the venues real quick because I think all of the venues that have matchups in these 2 days that are going to settle up the quarterfinals are fairly safe. Matthews, you saw it. You saw the replay last night for those of you that watched the match. PayPal Park, MLS facility. Tonight, Harrison, New Jersey, MLS facility. Centerville Bank Stadium in Pawtucket, USL Championship facility. Scotts Miracle-Gro, MLS. SeatGeek, it is shown as MLS Next Pro. I think you need more cameras considering what we've seen at MLS Next Pro events with Chicago Fire 2. It's basically one or two cameras that are up in the 300 section, and they're just kind of shooting all 22s. But you need more cameras. SeatGeek is capable of housing those cameras. Hell in a Shell, Dick's Sporting Goods Park. So all 8 venues, with Bridgeview being the one where you would need to invest more in cameras and such on a game day. All 8 venues yesterday and today for Open Cup have the capability to house cameras to have appropriate VAR viewing. This is something I think that needs to be brought up at a certain point in the Open Cup. The round of 16, you need to have it, and especially there going forward. So that's the PSA for the day. The more you know for U.S. Soccer. Yeah, and Abby True, to avoid injuries. Yeah, to avoid injuries. Absolutely true there. So 37th minute, Fafa gets fouled by Diani, set piece from 22. Naomi Hyde just misses a header there. So you're starting to see these moments coming for Atlanta United. Backline coming together on set pieces, all of these things. 8 shots to none by the 37th minute. Charlotte has another moment in the 42nd. Morrison with a header at the back post, easily grabbed. And so you're at the break and you're up 1-0. Early second half, Mihai on a big switch to Baez. You have Miller with a kick save. So once again, Atlanta still on the front foot, 9-1 in shots at that point. Charlotte kind of grabs control, 56th minute. They're kind of pushing Atlanta United around a little bit. Atlanta United's having to defend more than they did in the first 45. Subs come in for Atlanta United at that point. 66th minute, Barakal goes down. And so you end up with Charlotte subbing Kerwin Vargas, more on him in a bit. You have Toklamati come in. You have Aloko come in. We all know about Rodolfo Aloko from the matches involving Atlanta United 2 and Crown Legacy. He is that next power forward coming through the system in Charlotte. So you have Abada leave, Goodwin leave, who Archie Goodwin did nothing on the table in the matchup, and Tiger Smalls goes. Toklamati gets his first chance in the 68th, and so it's a save for Hibbert, one of a few that he had on the night. Hernandez comes in for Barakal because of the injury. That's something that we're going to have to keep an eye on with Juan Barakal going forward, getting ready for Montreal. Will Riley gets the armband. Will Riley got the armband when Alexei Miranchuk was subbed off. Hang on to that just for future reference. Will Riley gets the armband in an Open Cup match. Handled it very well. 20 minutes worth of captain's armband. Brennan, Ronald end up with their clearance. And then you end up with, like I said, the Atlanta substitutions come in. And then in the 70th minute, 71st minute, you end up with another moment for Atlanta. And a really cool moment for one of the guys that we have covered since day one that we've had the chance to cover him. Courtesy, once again, Star 94.
Thomas Jacob is now the right center back, squaring below center circle. Here's Mahai, pass to Loco, dummied through by Fafa to Amador on the near touchline. Pedro 25 yards from goal, dropping it back to Galarza in front of the left halfway line. He dribbles centrally, loops it to the backside of center circle to Jacob, who will pitch this over to Hernandez at the right halfway line. Ronald over the top, looking for Cooper Sanchez, hooks into the box. Miller off his line, he can't catch it. Dribbling in and scoring is Cooper Sanchez! Atlanta United leads 2-0 as Miller chased the ball off his line and could not clutch it. And it's a slam dunk goal for Cooper Sanchez.
How many times this season have we talked about continuing the play? Cooper Sanchez doesn't give up on the play. It's a ball over the top. He makes a very long run. He starts when Hernandez receives the ball at midfield. Sanchez is on the edge of the center circle. He makes a long looping run all the way around. Miller and the defender aren't talking. Privet gets a touch when he shouldn't, and Sanchez just stays with it, has the composure to dribble into the 6, put it home with the left foot. The 18-year-old makes it 2-0 for Atlanta United.
18 years old. And I think that you look at the play in and of itself, and Ronald Hernandez's long ball to start the play was tremendous. And then you end up with Cooper making a looping run. It wasn't one of these where it's a straight line trying to get on the inside shoulder toward the near post. It literally was. It was a looping run around to buy himself some time to get the timing right. And then he is trying to work his way around Andrew Privet, who is about 7 feet 4 inches tall. And he's forcing Privet into making decisions and trying to handle the ball. And Privet's trying to shield it and get it to Tyler Miller. Neither one of them really can get a good handle on it. And Cooper Sanchez sticks with the play. He sticks with the play to get the goal, slam dunk inside the 6, 2-0. And then Jaden Hibbert with a save in the 74th to preserve the lead, 10-5 on shots at that point, 4-2 in the overall. Tomas Jakob comes back with 10 minutes to go to help out defensively, stuffing Toklamati on a run inside the 18. And the pressing by Atlanta United creating turnovers on the day. Charlotte out in the round of 16, 2-0 to Atlanta United. Numbers just to give you an idea for some of the folks. Obviously, Alexi with the goal, he was the highest rated player for Atlanta United. Latte Lot comes in for the final 25-ish to sub for Alexi. So for Alexi, 1 goal, 2 shots, both on target. Passing numbers for Alexi, 13 of 16, 3 key passes for Alexi Miranchuk on the night. 8 for 10 passing in the attacking half. He was successful on 2 long balls along the way. 21 touches. He did all of this on 21 touches, which shows you how many folks were integrated last night in the offense. 21 touches for Miranchuk last night. And he is in a groove right now. 1 successful dribble. Total carrying distance was 57.5 meters. He had a progressive carry for 16.4. Defensively, he helped out there as well, winning a ground duel. So then Galarza, Barakal, each with 7.1s according to SofaScore. Baez with a 7. And Mihai had a 7.5, highest rated on the back line. So Mihai last night, 9 defensive contributions, 1 a tackle, 2 picks, 5 clearances, 6 recoveries, 3 for 3 on his ground duels. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 separate categories that Anami High registered last night defensively. And obviously, Barakal, we've got to keep an eye on his hamstring going forward. Will Riley on the night played the full 90. 35 of 36 passing for Will Riley in the night, 97%. Passes in the opposition half, he was 17 of 17. Had 1 long ball as well along the way. Defensively, 7 defensive contributions, 1 a tackle, had a pick, 4 clearances, 4 recoveries. He was 3 for 9 on his duels. So 6 separate categories registered defensively for Will Riley last night. And then obviously your subs, Pedro Amador comes in, gives you 30. Cooper comes in, gives you 30. Latte Lot comes in, gives you 30. Ronald comes in, gives you 20. Tristan comes in, gives you 10 plus. Cooper obviously finished with a 7.5 in 27 minutes, according to SofaScore, with the goal and a yellow. So defensively for Cooper, 4 contributions, 1 both tackles, 2 clearances, and 2 for 3 on his duels. 14 touches for Cooper on the dribble in 27 minutes. Passing on the night, 8 for 8. 2 for 2 long balls, 4 for 4 in each half. Now, to the moment at the end. And the moment at the end, you had, and in Charlotte, you had a team that was completely and totally frustrated all evening long. Understandably so. I mean, the lineup that you put out there, I don't know how much time they had as a group. I really don't, because you could tell that the combinations were not there. For them, it was 10 total shots for Atlanta United on the night compared to 8, 2 saves each, 10 fouls each. Shots 10-8, on target 4-2. Shots inside the box, 9 of Atlanta's 10 were inside the 18. Touches in the opposition box right at 50-50 at 18-17. Duels were 50-50. Final third entries, get this. Final third entries. Charlotte had 87 entries into the final third last night. 87. I cannot remember the last time a number was that high. Atlanta had 38. 87 final third entries for Charlotte. How many shots did you have? 8. 10% of your final third entries resulted in a shot of any kind. Total shots, 10-8. Shots on target, 2. 87 final third entries, 2 shots on target. That is insane to come up with a number like that. 5-4 in crosses to Charlotte. Long balls, 48 out of 69 for Charlotte. You see what Charlotte was trying to do. Atlanta United, 22 of 54. 8 picks, 38 recoveries, 32 clearances for Atlanta United on those 87 entries, by the way. But to the moment at 90 plus 4, where you had a coming together, shall we say. You had Luke Brennan in possession, and Luke is knocked down. And Kerwin Vargas then in the ensuing scrum decides, and to be honest, on the headbutt scale, it was more of a lunge. It was one of those. It was one of those short distance kind of lunges where you're wanting to kind of go forehead to forehead with somebody, and you just kind of like. It wasn't one of those where Kerwin Vargas comes from all the way back and he just wants to launch into somebody and smash their smash them on the temple. It was a lunge, but nevertheless, I think by the letter of the definition, I think it's still a headbutt because you had 2 heads coming together. And once again, we go back into this officiating crew where you had an AR on the near side, and you had Luke, who was down initially. Players come in to defend, as you should. And then Kerwin Vargas, for whatever reason, Ronald trying to come in and defend a teammate, Kerwin Vargas decides that he wants to lunge at Ronald Hernandez. No, nothing. And Luke Brennan ends up with a yellow card in all of that. I'd love to know how Luke Brennan came up with a yellow card in all of that. That's just me. So once again, it reinforces with that moment that we had late north of 90 minutes and the moment that we had with Jack Neely, you've got to have VAR. You've got to have it earlier. You've got to have it round of 16 at the very least to work your way into the balance of the tournament. So Atlanta advances, like I said, tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. We will be watching along as to what the rundown looks like for the draw involving Atlanta United in the round of 8. So we'll see. If you look at things geographically, I don't think it's going to be a trip to San Jose. Might be Red Bulls, might be the Revs and the purple team, might be Crew and 1 Knox. Those would be my guesses if you're trying to keep things somewhat geographically desirable. So those would be the 3 or 4 places I would think. So winner of Red Bulls NYC, winner of New England Orlando City, winner of Crew and 1 Knox. Those would be my 3 that I would look at, because then you go Houston, Lou City, Colorado, the Mile High Derby. Nope. Houston, Lou City, maybe if it's Lou City. Chicago and St. Louis City. Nope, because it's over there. So if you're trying to think east and west, I would probably think of those 3 places first. The early games tonight. Hudson River, Open Cup style. Revs and Purple team in Rhode Island. Crew and 1 Knox in Columbus. So we will be watching along and wondering along with the rest of us what's going on in Open Cup, and we'll find out tomorrow what the end results are going to be. So we'll see what the rundown is. Yeah, and Wiley, that group last night. Nope, they were just kind of like happy to be here. The Crystal Palace of ref crews. So, yeah, that was a complete win for Atlanta United. Let's get you into post. A couple of minutes with Rodrigo Rios, assistant coach, and Cooper Sanchez. First off, it's parts of the conversation that were had with Rodrigo about the team over the last handful of matches, and Maddie's question for Rodrigo about the youngins themselves and what we're seeing over the last little while, and the benefits therein when it comes to what we're seeing with Atlanta United. Where's my lower third font that I'm trying to get rid of here? There we go. Okay, so there's the lower third font that I'm trying to get rid of. Here's Rodrigo Rios after the match, Atlanta United assistant coach, with the assembled media about the win.
Well, I think tonight and the previous game, we were able to uh, score goals when we were dominating the game, when we were possessing the ball in the attacking half. I think we don't just possess the ball. We attack and we create chances. We create quality chances, and we're able to score first. And I think that way to play, the goals change games. The results validate everything that we're doing since preseason, and then the bad moments, how we call it, bad moments, when we need to defend, we show greed. We show that the team, everybody was ready to take that role and do whatever it to take to preserve the result. So I think the difference. It's hard to validate the work when you are not getting results, and this week we got two important results for the team.
Hey, Rodrigo. I wanted to ask about Cooper Sanchez. I think he's a player that has been, I think, outstanding since the first match of the season, even the preseason. For you guys as well, have you seen his development grow throughout all the matches so far, and just the way he's been able to build his confidence as well and finding those moments for you guys?
I think that playing in tough games, playing when the results are not the one that we want. We do a lot of training. We do a lot of video with him and the other young players, and he has so much talent. He has so much quality, and the results, like I said in the previous questions, gonna help supporting that development, supporting the work that we're putting every day, and Cooper is a show of everything that we said. That sounds really good, but you need the results. So what we said, what we do, and him, Ajani, Matthew Edwards, Luke Brennan today, who played the entire game, they're getting better. They're helping the team, and they're finding the position in the roster that they deserve because they earn it, and they're having the minutes on the field to help the team.
Awesome. Thank you, Rodrigo.
We'll go to Adam.
There you go. That's the sound from Rodrigo Rios from last night. And speaking of Cooper Sanchez, since we mentioned Cooper Sanchez, let's talk about Cooper Sanchez. So here's Cooper Sanchez from the match, post-match after last night's game.
Yeah, I think it's important. Having homegrowns in the team, we always have hunger. We come with, hunger to win games, to do better, to be better, to improve as in the club. Obviously the club wasn't at its best state, so it's our job to, as young players and homegrowns, to kind of lift the spirit, I would say, in terms of work rate, just by coming to work every day and showing that we can be at this level and just working hard every day. I think we've done a good job of that, bringing energy and just combining with each other on the pitch. It's obviously great to play with other homegrowns, and hopefully we can get more on the pitch in the future.
Cooper Sanchez, after the win last night, gets his first team goal in a key situation. Beat in a key situation. Not his first team goal in a key situation, but his first team goal, or beat in a key situation. Second goal for Atlanta United. They go on to the quarterfinals in U.S. Open Cup. So you win there, you win there, you win there. You're in CONCACAF, kids. 3 wins away from CONCACAF Champions League. And legitimately, if you look at the teams that are remaining, Red Bulls and NYC, San Jose would be the one that worries me, but obviously what happened last night, keep an eye out on Timo Werner. Leaving in the 34th minute with a hamstring issue, we'll keep an eye on that and see how San Jose adapts to Werner possibly being out for a while. Red Bulls NYC, Okay. Purple team, yeah. Revs, you know what they bring to the table. Crew, you know what they bring to the table. One Knox being One Knox. One Knox right now are the Giant Killers. Chicago Fire, you know what they bring to the table. St. Louis City, we know what they're doing right now. They're still trying to figure out their offense when you don't have Joao Klaus. Dynamo, Lou City, Colorado Rapids, and Switchbacks. It's navigable. But obviously, we'll look at the bracket tomorrow when it pops up at 9 o'clock. We'll walk through it, and we'll see what the next step is for Atlanta United. Coming up in 3 weeks will be either, I think it's the 19th or the 20th, will be when they set up the matchup. But 3 weeks away from figuring out if you can get into the semifinals of Open Cup. We'll find out what it looks like. We'll get into juice boxes for the Open Cup at the end of the program. All right, so I guess that technically was opening kickoff for 45 minutes, talking about Atlanta United and their win in Open Cup over Charlotte. Oh, Dean Smith. Let me play Dean Smith before we get out of here. Here's Dean Smith as part of the scrum last night, one of his sound bites in the post-match. Dean Smith after the 2-0 loss, courtesy of Top Ben 90, I believe.
We've played or fielded a team that I believe should have won the game, but sometimes that doesn't happen.
What about tonight?
Yeah, no, you only get one chance in cup games because it's a knockout tournament. And first half we didn't do enough. I didn't think there was anything between the two teams at all in the first half, apart from a really good finish for their goal. We didn't create enough in the final third. I think it was a messy first half from both teams. Lots of turnover ball. Second half, I thought we were the better team. But when you're on top, you've got to take your chances, and we didn't do that today.
Dean Smith after the match. Now, I want to look at my numbers really quickly. So he thought it was a pretty messy first half for both sides. Atlanta had 8 shots. Charlotte had none as a part of it. Just saying. Opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. Starting your day with the most important stories in the game. Right way to start your morning. Black Pitch Coffee, part of the SDH community, showing up at events all over Atlanta. Try their home blend. Made with beans from Brazil and Guatemala. Heavy body, notes of walnut and semi-sweet chocolate, and a rich world-class finish. Opening kickoff, powered by Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. All right. So yesterday was one of the wildest games I think we've seen in Champions League in quite some time. I'm going to get the rundown of the goals just to lay it all out there from a timing perspective of what happened. Luis Enrique admitting after the match that it was the best match that he's been a part of as coach. No shock, really. So 5-4 PSG and Bayern. Harry Kane with a penalty in the 17th. Kavishka Kvaratskhelia in the 24th. Joao Neves in the 33rd. So Bayern up 1-0. PSG goes up 2-1. And me just recounting the goals barely scratches the surface. If you've got 2 hours and you can find a way to go watch the replay, go watch the replay. It is worth every moment. Get your meal, sit down, make sure it's in a stable position, because there'll be moments where you're going to sit there and you're going to go, this match is completely out of control. So PSG's up 2-1 in the 33rd. Michael Olise is like, yeah, okay, cool, fam. That's great. We're now tied at 2 in the 41st. Ousmane Dembele at 45 plus 5. So Bayern Munich up 1-0. PSG up 2-1. Bayern Munich draws even at 2. Dembele scores at 45 plus 5 to make it 3-2 at the break. Then you end up with Kvaratskhelia getting his brace in the 56th. Ousmane Dembele scoring in the 58th. 5-2 PSG. You're sitting there thinking, okay, this one's over. And this is where you grab your Ticonderoga number 2 pencil and you sit there and you go, not so fast, my friend. Upamecano scores in the 65th. Luis Diaz scores in the 68th. And it's hang on, brothers and sisters, for the final 20 minutes. You had 9 goals basically in 50 minutes of play. PSG hangs on to Bayern to beat Bayern Munich 5-4. 17th, 24th, 33rd, 41st, 45 plus 5, 56, 58, 65, 68. Craziness. Stats on the day, just to kind of go through the stats, just the insanity of it all. 13 shots on goal, Bayern Munich had 8. 22 shots total, PSG had 12. PSG also had 14 fouls compared to only 4 for a Bayern Munich. Had 3 yellows along the way. 2 saves for PSG, no saves for Bayern Munich. No saves, Bayern Munich, none. That's just the first leg. They play next week. So get gassed up and ready for that one. But, yeah, today it is at 3 o'clock. It is ATLUTD and Arsenal. I'm thinking goalless draw. I'm thinking. Like I said, that is just me. I'm thinking. Manchester City's hot at the moment, and I don't mean on the field. They're hot kind of off the field at the moment because they wanted to have some schedule shifting because of the demands that are currently on their schedule. And everyone was like, no, we're good. And so, of course, they were pretty mad that their schedule was not adjusted. And so now they believe that, according to James Ducker, Arsenal has been given the advantage in the title race. City wanted to have the Premier League switch matches to ease up their schedule. They now have an end of season trying to add Premier League, FA Cup, and to the Carabao they won last month against Arsenal. City's going to place Crystal Palace, 8 o'clock kick, May 13th. 3 days before they face Chelsea in the FA Cup final. Traveling to the coast on the 19th to take on Bournemouth at a 7:30, and then back home against Villa on the 24th. So 12 days, Palace on the road, Palace at home, FA Cup at Wembley, Bournemouth away, Villa at home, last day of the regular season. 4 matches in 12 days to wrap. And they're not happy about it. They wanted to know why it took so long for them to reschedule the home fixture against Palace, which was postponed because of the Gummy Bear Cup back in March. City say that the league has had since February 4th when Guardiola's team beat Newcastle in the semifinal second leg to rearrange the Palace match. City wanted to switch matches to allow them to play Bournemouth on the 12th and Palace on the 21st, which would have meant 3 and 10 instead of 4 and 12. Rejected by the Premier League. And so now 3 games in 7, and then traveling to the coast to take on Bournemouth. So May 4, Manchester City. May 4th at Everton, May 9th at home against Brentford, 13th at home against Crystal Palace, 16th the FA Cup final, 19th at Bournemouth, 24th at home against Villa. Arsenal has Atletico de Madrid away, and they also have a possible Champions League final if they get past Atleti. May the 2nd, Fulham at home. May the 5th, Atleti at home. May the 10th at West Ham. May 18th at home to Burnley. May 24th at Crystal Palace. Their run-in in league is easier. City officials offered 3 different midweeks as possibilities for the Palace game. And so now, matchup at Burnley could have been moved to one of the 2 weeks when Palace was going on in Europe. City officials feel there's no principle set out in the Premier League handbook that says all FA Cup semifinalists should play in the first available midweek before the semi. They wanted Bournemouth to be played on May 12, which they feel mirrors the stated principle for FA Cup semis. All displaced league fixtures must be held in the midweek prior to the final. But now that match has been slated for the week after the final. And so right now, match in hand, Arsenal is 3 points ahead, and they are 1 goal ahead. 73 points, goal difference of plus 38, Manchester City. Match in hand, 70 points, goal difference of plus 37. So City's kind of hot. City is less than pleased about all that. And in our moment of cool that we have occasionally, your requested required reading, by the way, is at the Telegraph, where the FA denies that heading is causing long-term brain damage. So that will be your requested required reading for the day. And there's your link from our friends at the Telegraph. So it's in the Twitch page. By the way, Dell needs help to get into the Discord. So if the powers that be can help Dell get into the Discord and navigate the Discord, because Dell wishes to get into the Discord. So please help Dell get into the Discord. So that is that is another thing that happened. Millie Bright announces her retirement from football with immediate effect. That is a big loss for the sport. But Millie Bright announced that this morning too. So our moment of cool having to do with the Afghan women's national team. And we are, as I was discussing with Dan in the Twitters, we are efforting an interview. We're going to try and see if we can get an interview with either Khalida Popal or someone that is attached to the program. Women's refugee players are allowed to compete as the official national team. Matt Hughes in Vancouver. This comes from the FIFA, the FIFA coming together of folks that they're having in Vancouver currently. Ben Jacobs has been very, very busy. Probably after 11 o'clock when we start wrapping things up, we'll go over what else has been going on in Vancouver. Short version, FIFA's given permission for Afghan Women United, refugees scattered around the world, to represent Afghanistan in official competitions without requiring the approval of the Taliban. FIFA Council came up with that yesterday, permitted to compete as the official Afghan national team for the first time against the wishes of the country's government. Previous regs had FIFA requiring the team to receive recognition from the Taliban-controlled AFF, the Football Federation, which will not recognize the women's football team due to the Taliban's ban on women's sports. Afghan Women was formed after the Taliban returned to power in 2021. And the official women's national team, which had been set up in 2007, banned with most of their players seeking asylum. So that is beyond cool. That is our moment of cool for the morning, by the way. That is our moment of cool. And let's see. Now, I think Dylan might actually be joining us this morning. Okay, because I always try to look and see if Dylan has a lot of busy stuff going on, and he does. And so we have not heard from Dylan that he's incredibly busy, so he might be joining us here in a couple of minutes. Let me get into what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it from our friends at Fanati's, fntz.co/soccer down here. That link is important, helps them out, helps us out, helps you out. Add to all of the streaming and all the games that you've been watching all around the world. fntz.co/soccer down here. Today, obviously, ATLUTD and Arsenal. And Copa Libertadores on the BNs. At Fanati's, you get all the BNs, which means you get Copa Libertadores. You get Sudamericana. You get the LPF out of Argentina. You get Tigo Sports tie-ins. You get CATV tie-ins. You get everything in AFCON. You get CAF, and you get CAF Champions League. You get a lot of the A and B divisions in South America. TSA out of Argentina with all of their great coverage. But BN en Español tonight, Platense Santa Fe, Estudiantes Flamengo, Universitario Nacional. Howard Hamilton, the founder of Soccer Metrics, has now produced 100 episodes of the Copa Libertadores show. Huzzahs and hoorays and trumpets from on high. And I know he is set to celebrate that marker in a way, so go listen to the show. CBS Sports Network has Hudson River Open Cup tonight at 7. FS1 has CONCACAF Champions Cup tonight at 10:30 with LAFC and Toluca. Leg 1 last night. Nashville, after an hour-long rain delay, loses 1-0 at home to Tigres. They're going to have to win again in Mexico. Will not be as altitudinally challenged as they were last time. They did not have Sam Surridge last night, hoping that they can have him attached to the second leg next week. BN en Español simulcasting Libertadores. Fox Deportes has a doubleheader of the league we don't talk about. And then at 4 o'clock, the Honduran League. 2 to NA, ATLETI, and Arsenal at 3. Then CONCACAF Champions Cup with LAFC and Toluca's at 10:30. Unimas is simulcasting. Univision simulcasting Champions League. ESPN Plus has USL Championship at 9. El Paso and Tulsa USL Cup, presented by Prinks Tires, Prinks with an X. It is Miami FC, and Naples. That's at 7 o'clock. Fox O&E has the league we don't talk about, Honduras CONCACAF simulcast. Paramount Plus has Athletic and Arsenal, and 6 Open Cup matchups available to you. Hudson River, Columbus One Knox, New England Orange Purple Team, Chicago All Caps, Houston Louisville, and the Mile High Derby. Women one matchup in the NWSL, Portland and San Diego. That one is tonight at 10 o'clock. So that is the rundown of everything, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, presented by our friends at Fanatis at fntz.co/soccer down here. Juice boxes for tonight, because we do have some juice boxy things to get into. Open Cup. Red Bulls in New Jersey at Harrison, favored at a plus 114, draws a plus 280, 90-minute draw. NYC's a plus 179. 7:30 shortly thereafter at the Death Star. Crew minus 333 hosting One Knox at a plus 700. 90-minute draws a plus 450. Go ahead and tell Ian Fuller that all the time. He likes those kinds of numbers and likes those odds. Revs in Rhode Island hosting the team. Revs a minus 114, draws a plus 290. Purple team's a plus 245. Fire hosting St. Louis City in Bridgeview at a minus 111, draws a plus 300. All caps are a plus 250. Houston at Helena Shell hosting Lou City at a minus 147, draws a plus 285. Lou City a plus 340. Mile High Derby, Rapids, minus 147. I just swear. Juice boxers, they're just kind of like, give them the same number. Colorado Springs a plus 333, and the 90-minute draws a plus 290. Now, busiest man in the Northeast. Time to catch up with Dylan Butler. Find out. Were you on the desk, sir, last night?
I was not. I'm on tonight.
Okay, well, I'm glad, because you had the weather/rain delay and the late game out west involving Open Cup chaos in San Jose. I was just checking to see how much sleep you had gotten in the overnight.
Yeah, well, my Open Cup chaos is what, nine MLS teams playing tonight. So
hang on.
You just went through them.
2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 9. You are correct. 9 of the 12 are MLS teams.
Yes.
And so, but at the very least, though, the last kick is 9 o'clock or 9:03. So it's not 9:03 Eastern time. So it's not like it was last night where at PayPal it was like at a 10:30 something, and it's chaos. So you've got to be paying attention to chaos, and you're not done till 12:30, and you're kind of going.
But I make up for it with a late start for the CONCACAFing.
Oh,
right?
Yes. Hour
30 start.
Oh yeah, LAFC and Toluca. So that one's going to be its own brand of chaos tonight. When you look at, okay, we'll start Open Cup with what happened last night. Hopefully that you were just sleeping through what happened late. It was the LOL Loons and San Jose. Just when you think that San Jose is kind of taking a bit of a nap, and they're kind of looking at what happened with Timo Werner, and they got to keep an eye on his hamstring over the next little bit. Then all of a sudden they woke up, and Minnesota figured out, oh yeah, that's right. That's why San Jose is one of the top teams in the Western Conference. So it had its own bit of chaos yesterday as well. You're down, you're up, and then you get some distance. And so welcome to San Jose's season here in 26.
Yeah, 4-2, right? Final, couple of OGs, a Bo LaRue brace, right? I believe. Part of it, yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, the San Jose story in general, right, to start the year has it's been one of the stories of MLS this year. There's no question about it. You could when Espinoza goes to Nashville and you're like, all right, now they have that triumvirate up top. You're like, these guys could be really good. So that's not what Nashville has done. Is one of the stories of this season, but not one of the biggest surprises, right?
Right.
Conversely, you're like, oh my goodness, San Jose just lost Espinoza. Okay, they bring in Timo Werner, but he hasn't played like in 2 years. Like, does he still have anything? And then, yeah, they've been awesome. They've been such a great story to start the season. the biggest question obviously is going to be is this magical start sustainable for them?
And
they have shown though. Sorry, John. They have shown though that they can win without Timo in the lineup. So even if he's sidelined for a couple of weeks here,
right,
because hamstrings are tricky. They've shown that they can have success even without him in the lineup. So
yeah, and Bruce Arena, basically, we're sitting there going, "Oh, I don't know about this. What's Bruce Arena getting himself into? I don't know." And everybody's kind of like, "Look, Espinoza, what happened there?" And it's like Bruce is just kind of kicked back. He's not even in the recliner with the feet up. He's just kind of in the chair, and he's just kind of chill, hanging back here. He's just like, yeah. Nico Sakiris, Preston Judd, Aseni Buddha, Bo LaRue.
Yeah, and all due respect to all those guys you just mentioned, but it's all other than probably Verna, right? They're like a nameless, faceless team.
No doubt. No doubt. Yeah.
Like you walk past these dudes in Panera, you be like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, okay. Oh, it's like, oh, so he's got the new San Jose Earthquakes pullover. That looks kind of sweet. I think I'll go to the store and grab that. You go on Fanatics and it's not available yet. So how did he get it? And then you sit there and you go to PayPal Park. Oh, no, there are some dudes that aren't even household names in their own household. I mean, you're seeing that with these.
They're getting it done.
Yeah, and so you're seeing what San Jose's been able to do. It's like what 11-1 out of the blocks.
Well, that's crazy.
Which I did not anticipate with this group because of how young they were and trying to figure out who they were as an identity. And you're the top of toward the top of the charts in the Western Conference. And I was mentioning about Nashville with that front line. They didn't have Sam Surridge. They only lose by 1, and the number of goals that they have given up this year in all comps has been insane. The defense that BJ Callahan has pieced together, I don't think is getting a whole lot of reps when we talk about what's going on with Nashville. We focus on what's going on with the three-headed monster, with the Hydra up front, but we don't talk about that defense that has barely given up anything this year.
Yeah, in league play, they just pulled it up. They are tied for third, actually, with maybe as impressively, if not more impressively, San Jose, right? Like the goals they leaked last year were crazy. Which, by the way, I was saying goals leaked, and since it is a Wall Pass Wednesday, and you're in this biz of ours, you will appreciate this. So I had a lacrosse game Saturday, and it was in the New York area, at least Saturday, just poured rain all day, like brutal, like buckets of. So I actually had 2 lacrosse games. I had one in Massapequa, and then I had another one in Manhasset. So I go to the second one, and the Manhasset press box is like this old, like brick, just a brick box, right? Small. There's like all kinds of like kind of stains you're looking up on the walls. Like you don't know what the heck that might be. It was just before the open, and I look down at my feet. I'm like, oh, fun. I'm literally standing in a puddle inside of the press box.
And now I assume you're wearing a headset.
Yes.
And there might be cables of an electric.
So my thought was like, this is not like, this is very Final Destination kind of stuff. And this is not the way I was looking to go out here.
Final Destination over broadcast Final Destination. You're sitting there and you're looking at, or like when, or maybe it was like when Kenny survived the Christmas episode of South Park. It's like, Kenny, go over. It's like the power's not working. Kenny, go over there and work with the power with the outlet that's dripping and got all the things there. But no, that's just you go wandering into one of those old brick boxes, and you don't know about the sealant and how safe it is, and then this is leaking, by the way, and look it on the floor, and the wind is blowing in, and you're trying to cover the equipment, and
that's so bad.
That's chaos.
I'm back there again on this Saturday, but I think it's not supposed to be rainy. So
in theory, yes, but that box will find a way to raise all kinds of concerns from a broadcast perspective. Hey, how old is this outlet? You know, wait a second. This isn't working. Let me jiggle the extension cord here for a second. You know, I've been
You start chat GPTing like, what does green slime mean on the walls?
Well, and there was one press box. You'll appreciate this. There was one press box I was in, and I was high school. It's high school football, and it is small town, smallest classification, and this team was traditionally not very good. So the press box itself really didn't get a whole lot of care. The phone that they had going into the press box was a rotary phone. And the phone itself, and it was a hanging wall phone that was rotary, and you had to take the cord that's usually attached to the clip, you know, the one section of the clip that goes into the receiver and on the Princess phone, and then it goes into the wall socket.
Mhm.
You literally had to take the wall socket section and kind of sit there and jiggle it north and south to see, okay, can I hear what's going on? Then when you finally hear the dial tone, you've got to hold it in place, put the phone on your shoulder, dial the number that you're trying to dial, hold that in place, take the call, and then hang it up before you can get anything accomplished. I have been in those press boxes, sir. I know of which you speak.
Fun.
Yes. You mentioned the defenses in Major League Soccer. And the one that gets me, Seattle. I mean, they've played obviously one or two matches less, but they've only given up 4 goals this year with Andrew Thomas in net. I mean, you've only scored 12, obviously, but
Yeah.
you mentioned the defenses. Seattle's the number 1 defense. Vancouver's at number 2. I'm going to hang on to Vancouver as a topic, and we'll come on to that in a sec. Then you've got LAFC and San Jose at 6, and Nashville at 6. And so if I had told you your top 5 in defenses just in goals allowed this year, in order, Seattle, Vancouver, and then however you want to break up Nashville, San Jose, and LAFC. What if I'd said that'd be your top 5 here, 20% into the season? What would you have told me?
I think I would have probably of that group. I might have LAFC in Nashville. I don't know about the others. And then even if you took that next step down,
Yeah,
I would not have had Chicago like
no
7th, right? So
I mean, Chris Brady's made himself at home, and you're looking at
I can't pronounce the name, but the South African center back
Mbowazi.
Yeah, he's been outstanding.
Yeah, the M is silent, and you kind of have to take the consonants and just kind of mash them together. You can go Mbowazi or just Boazi, but yeah, Mbowazi is he has been a good pickup. There are times when he is pushing the laws of how do we say this, fairness and application of defensive properties without getting carded, and he'll jump over that ledge and he'll kind of test the ARs and the officials. But Mbowazi so far this season, he's done really well. That was a great pickup for Chicago. The Vancouver.
By the way, in that Massapequa Manhasset game, speaking of pronunciations, you'll like this.
Yeah,
I had a Greek attacking player.
Oh wait. So hang on.
A shot.
Okay, all right. So
goalie.
Which school? All right. So Massapequa.
Mm-hmm.
Massapequa High Lacrosse. Let me see if Max Preps just gives me rosters. All right, so Massapequa High School boys lacrosse. All right, roster. Massapequa Chiefs, 9-2, by the way. 1-0 in league, second. They're ranked 21st in the state of New York. Darn, I don't have a roster. They don't have a roster on Max Preps. What is wrong with these people?
If you go to BLAX.
Okay, BLAX.
And the number the written out 8 EIGHT.net.
.net. BLAX EIGHT.net. Okay, so Herrick's Friends, Lynbrook, Southside MacArthur. So I need teams.
It's teams alphabetical.
Got it. So Massapequa with Kevin Catalano as their coach at 10-2, and Manhasset with Nick Armstrong as their coach at 8-3. So, okay. So schedule, returning award winners.
See the roster be on the right.
All right, hang on. Roster on the right. Hang on. Donate, main field, Kevin Catalano, sliding down. Where's my roster? Oh, team roster. Okay, team roster on the right. So Massapequa. All right. Calphion, Clagnaz. I'm going alphabetical.
Right, so you have to go to K.
Okay, so the keeper wearing number 2.
Correct.
Peter Konstantinakos.
Yes.
Peter Konstantinakos. Okay, that's not bad.
And the East ISA player was Peter Theodoropoulos.
Oh, okay, so Theodoropoulos had a shot on Konstantinakos.
Correct.
Okay, just checking. No, I'm down. I get that.
That one situation gave me so much agita going into the game.
Not a lot of Scrabble points though. There's too many vowels.
And then it happened, and it was good. It was like I got right through it.
Yeah. I've always and for and one of the assistant coaches is Frank Bakakis
for Massapequa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking down at the bottom. I see Massapequa, and it's like, oh, Frank Bakakis. And Nolan Wiesorek.
No.
Or is it Wiesorek?
Wiesorek.
Wiesorek. Okay, so second syllable. Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty good. There are a couple, but yeah, the Antonelli brothers, up top. But yeah, Konstantinakis. Yeah, I go lyrical when I have a lot of letters. I'll almost turn it into kind of like a sing-songy kind of thing, and that way it kind of Konstantinakos. There's an up and a down in there, and it's an easier. The more syllables, the more lyrical I kind of get with it, and especially if you have letter collisions that you're not used to seeing and things like that. I'll slow it down and maybe turn it into something that's got some ups and downs into it, so you can navigate the different syllables. That's kind of how
I had one yesterday too for Chaminade. His name is Haristophoratos.
Okay, so that's not a lot of Scrabble points. There's too many vowels there. It's too many. But it makes it easier for us because. But now I got to ask you this: did they go NOB or did they go NNOB and have to go shoulder to shoulder with the lettering on the last name?
Oh, I don't think they have. Yeah, there's no names in the back.
Oh, yeah, see, now that's a missed opportunity because of going shoulder to shoulder with the lettering.
Did you say that one pitcher? Who's it? Boston, I think. No, not Boston. It was the Mets are playing them. He's got a hyphen in his name, so it goes like shoulder to shoulder.
Yes, love that. I absolutely love that. I wanted to discuss the Vancouver situation with you. And right now, second in the standings, 8-1, 3 points behind San Jose, match in hand, obviously. And obviously one of the top defenses in the league. I know the expectations are always high there now with the roster that they've constructed. Looking for an owner for 16 months, have not found one. And the provincial government is now been asked to kind of be a part of the process by the mayor of the city of Vancouver, who came out publicly yesterday. This has been 16 months. It's been a long slog. And when you have a team say on social media that they've had about 100 different pieces of local interest and nothing has stuck, and if anyone would be interested, please come forward, that's not really an optimistic thing.
No, it's not. And for so many reasons, you would love to see that club stay where it is. And it's such a beautiful city. It's intertwined there with Seattle and Portland and the Cascadia situation. There's only a couple of clubs in Canada, so you want to keep that going as well for them. So and there's terrific history as well, right? Going back to the 70s as well with the Whitecaps. So yeah, listen, let's maybe you had the hashtag save the crew. Now it's save the Whitecaps, I guess. But
yeah.
I think Tommy Scoops had a great idea, right? Reaching out to Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. I mean, the only problem though is that it's not like where, and I know that Ryan's connected and he could probably come up with the loonies and toonies to come up with it. But this is not a Wrexhamish situation where BC Place, your lease runs out, I think, after this year. You've had discussions with governments and tribal authorities in the eastern suburbs of town where they're looking to refit a race course, a horse race course, to have a facility. My first thought would be to check with the tribal leaders, because if they're with you on the ground, the property that they want to have as a part of the live, work, play thing and have the stadium there, that would be one of my first things, because of what I think what the Siquan tribe is attached to San Diego as a part of that development there. This isn't just like you can drop 20 million into a situation and then invest and fix. It's a barn, and it's the infrastructure, and it's making it the size of Dillon Butler Estates but larger, and that's what, 800 million right there in US dollars. And so you got to add 30% to that. If we wanted to do Dillon Butler Estates Burnaby edition, you're looking at 800 million times 30% for the exchange rate. So you're already over $1 billion in the project. Then you're trying to figure out infrastructure and what to have the team continue to function. Team's been losing money. It's last in ad revenue, I think, when it comes to Major League Soccer. I'd love for it to be an easy fix, but this is 10 figures to the left of the decimal when you walk in the door.
Which doesn't really make it so attractive for the owners you're trying to attract, right? So
yeah. And I mean, it's a great product. I think that I think if you came up with a stadium that was in that 30,000 range, that you could fill it fairly regularly and you wouldn't have to worry about it. Then you create a supply and demand issue when you have folks who come in like Messi or whomever to be those high impact home dates. But it's for me, it's, you want them to stay. And then the follow-up question that we saw from Tommy Scoops and Tenorio et al., Vegas, my guess is they'd go into Allegiant because of just the climate issues. And I know there was a group that was like, yeah, we'll create a 50,000 seat stadium, a $10 billion project. They're the ones that have not been talking to Major League Soccer. But you're risking, I think, if you go to Vegas in this, aren't you risking oversaturation because of everything seemingly drifting into Vegas now? You've got the Aces and VGK, and you get the Raiders, and you've got Sacramento and John Fisher building a ballpark, and it's a transitory market. And you want to add Major League Soccer, and I imagine, like I said, I imagine it's to Allegiant to continue to give them dates, but it's just, are we on the verge of oversaturating Vegas?
It's a good question. We talked a couple of weeks ago about expansion destinations, and that was right at the very forefront of my thoughts when you were talking about Sacramento and their situation. And I think it's the one. Is it oversaturation, or is it like our area up here? You've got two NFL teams, 2 Major League Baseball teams, 3 hockey teams, two NBA teams as well. Sort of an NBA team with the Nets, but
two MLS franchises.
Yeah, but I think it works here, and could it work in Vegas? I don't know the soccer loving community there, and I haven't done any homework about.
You mean you haven't done excursions to Las Vegas to kind of sample the nightlife and find out what's going on and where folks gravitate when they're not trying to go get a hit on 17 at the table?
I have not. But in so many ways it makes sense, right? So but I don't want to lose Vancouver.
Yeah.
Whitecaps for Vegas. Like, if you want to make that the next expansion team, great, but not at the expense though of the Whitecaps.
No, and I think that you're losing a fantastic market when you do that. Looking at the weekend, there are a couple of matches that are kind of gravitating toward San Diego FC hosting LAFC. Sorry, that was my Adrian Garcia Marquez impression. And then LAG and Vancouver that are up this weekend. I mean, obviously, those are the two marquee matchups this weekend. I know we've got to kind of get through Champions League first with LAFC, and they go down the 5 to take on San Diego. But what else is stuck in your mind from the week that was going into the weekend that will be? Amanda Stavely, she's buying another franchise.
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, I was I was on Saturday. I'm not on this Saturday.
Excellent.
But what stood out?
Is that exciting a week for you, huh?
No, it's just a lot.
It was that far back for you.
A lot to go through. Trying to think what.
I mean, LAG knocking off RSL. You got Portland beating San Diego.
Marco Royce with a couple of goals in that one.
Yeah, San Diego did not get a red card, I don't think, in a match finally. Nashville thumping Charlotte, and then Charlotte losing. So Charlotte has lost to the purple team. They've lost to the guitar solos bunch, and then they lose to Atlanta in open.
Montreal's domination of all MLS teams, New York.
Yikes! Yeah. Well, Prince Owusu. I mean, he is a rather large individual that needs more than one marker, and going through the heart of the six and getting past the defender and just slamming it into the net. So, I mean, that's a big win for CF Montreal. LAFC goes on the road. They get a win. They get the one goal. That's all that matters.
Denke gets a couple for Cincinnati.
Yeah. Messi and friends only get a draw at New Stadium against New England.
Yeah.
And, you're kind of wondering.
Rame scores again, heating up a little bit. Will he get the call up to Eltree?
Oh, he's got to. You got to think. Right. I mean, come on. You got to think he's got to get the call up. I mean, I'm just saying. That's got to happen. You look and let's see. So Suarez got discoed for embellishment, and I mean, what is it? What is it about New Stadium? It's like Messi and friends. It's like they can only draw at this new home, and I feel like we should spell it NU every single time. It's just, but then they'll go on the road, and they'll play 2 games in 4 days on the road, and go midweek weekend. And they'll just win, and it's that inevitability of, okay, here they come, then they get the 2 goals at RSL, then they come home, and it's just like another draw. It's like I can't explain it. I really don't. I can't. I'm still trying to figure out Messi and friends at home, and I haven't quite figured it out yet. The teams on the road know that Maxi Falcone can't see past that great lettuce, I guess.
Yeah, it is a mystery for sure.
Yeah, and the game commences, quoting Mark Knopfler. All right, so your weekend, sir. Well, actually, your week is what?
What is today? Today's Wednesday?
Wall Pass Wednesday, yes.
Yes. So as we said, shift tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lacrosse game tomorrow. It will be all of about a 8 or 10 minute drive for me, which is great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Varsity Media on the YouTubes.
Thank you. Rare to have those. And then Saturday, super excited about this. It is the 144th Wood Stick Classic.
Okay.
Between Garden City and Manhasset.
Okay.
We try to get all these kind of different things in our broadcast. You've probably seen it. So, we've had food reviews.
Mm-hmm.
My broadcast partner, his name is Brian Soper, nicknamed Soap.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to have the second edition of the Soapbox at halftime, and he's going to somehow give us the all-time combined starting lineup between Garden City and Manhasset Lacrosse. This is 2 programs that, it's since the beginning of the sport, these two have played each other, and you consider that maybe the greatest all lacrosse player of all time, Jim Brown, went to Manhasset High School.
Ooh.
So he's got to be on that
Yeah.
on that list. So that's gonna be a fun halftime feature. But that'll be 7:00 at aforementioned Manhasset High School and their press box. So
In the Soapbox Derby.
and then so no MLS for me on Saturday.
Good for you.
Because of the 7:00 start for that game. But I will be on Sunday.
Okay. And there for the two matches on Sunday. So as always, my friend, it's great to see you. Great to chew the fat and find out what's going on in the busiest man in the Northeast in the dossier, whether it's lacrosse or any of the other sports. Varsity Media on the YouTubes.
Yeah.
You can catch up with Dylan on all the things when it comes to soccer here, lacrosse up there currently as to what's going on in the schedule. And it's always great to see you, my friend. We will catch up with you, the busiest man in the Northeast, next week, busyness permitting. It's great to see you, my friend.
Cheers, buddy.
There he goes. And what's the mug?
Goldfish.
Oh, yes.
Which is what Nashville needs to think about right now.
Yes, as now that the season 4 trailer has also come out for Ted Lasso, by the way. So
yeah, that's right.
So so we were watching that. The boss was like, "So am I supposed to? Am I going to cry by the end of the trailer?" And I'm like, "No, you're not going to cry for the end of the trailer." But you know, it's a good tease to go into the season. So continue goldfishing with the coffee, and we'll see you next week.
All right, buddy.
There he goes, Dylan Butler, MLSsoccer.com. And the season 4 trailer is now out for Ted Lasso. And it is, so let's see. Like I said, it's a trailer, so I don't know if I'm spoiling anything. But it looks like Rebecca and the pilot are still happy. They're piecing together the women's team. Tracy Ullman apparently is involved, so we know that comedy will ensue of an ethereal level. Keely and Roy are hanging out. Higgins is there. New cast of characters. And when it comes to assembling the women's team. So, and the dude that always runs into Ted on his walks, that always calls Ted a wanker, he's back. Because you know what is there? What's the saying that Patty Lapone said? There are no small roles. There are only There are no small roles. There are only actors that don't know how to change focus. I think that's close. But yeah, so you have all of those recurring parts and things like that. So it's so the season 4 trailer is out for Ted Lasso, August the 5th, I believe, if I remember the date correctly. And so season 4 of Ted Lasso is coming out on August the 5th on the Apple. So we'll keep an eye out for that and all the other dates that are attached when they come up with more trailers. Let's see. Joseph Smith, head coach at Brooks County's girls squad, coming up in just a little bit. We'll talk to him about what's going on in Quitman, Georgia, kind of a Red Clay soccer report preview. So hopefully we'll catch up with life in Quitman. Then we've got Philip Thomas and River Ridge, homecoming and EOCs permitting, end of classes permitting, looking for him in about 10 minutes. And that'll get us ready for Red Clay, which is coming up at noon. Go through all the brackets to get you started in day number 2 of round number 2. Go through the brackets, and we'll catch up with our friends at McIntosh. McIntosh and River Ridge tonight is going on, and that'll be on the network at a little before 7 o'clock. And we will let you know. We'll let you know what's going on. So I'm going to go ahead and send out a flare. Coach, come on in. Just come on in and crash. We'll do a good 10 minutes, and we will discuss everything. So literally, I ask, and then magically he appears. Let's go down to Quitman, find out what's going on at Brooks County. A solid 10 minutes with Joseph Smith. Hey, Coach. Good to see you.
Hey, how are you doing?
Better now. I'm glad that we were able to catch up. I want to do a solid bit of time with you about the program down there at Brooks County as kind of like a Red Clay soccer report preview for the noon show. And I know that, do you need a note to get back into classes? Does this get anybody mad?
I'm all good. We're doing GMAS testing, so the kids aren't bothering me for another at least hour. So we're good.
Excellent. All right. So we got Philip Thomas from River Ridge coming on after you here in just a little bit. I wanted to kind of introduce folks to the program there at Brooks County, both the girls' side that you're the head coach on and the boys' side. Successes in Class A, the smallest classification here in the state of Georgia, Class A D2. Made it into the playoffs this year. Then you ran into the buzzsaw that's known as LOA, Lake Oconee Academy, in the second round. When you look back at this season, what are some of your takeaways?
I think for the girls, we've had a fantastic season. I've been coaching here this is my 4th year doing it, 4th year teaching. So I'm kind of fresh out of college. When I first took over here at Brooks County, I was coming into a girls soccer team that had never won a soccer game.
Mm-hmm.
I think they might have won one soccer game in the past like 3 years before I got here. But I look at it as a challenge, and I like challenges. So, my mentality is just get a little better every year. So my first year here, I think we won 2 games. That was it. My second year, I think we won 5 games, so a little bit better. Last year, we won 7 games, and now this year we finished the regular season 11-6. So, that's something to be proud of and hold our head up high. And we got to round 2. Lake Oconee was something. They were very organized. They were tough. They'll probably go pretty far. I know they usually make it to the state championship pretty frequently. So, I think overall it was a great season.
Yep, and they're running into Screven County in the next round, the top-ranked team in Class AD2. That's going to be a heavyweight battle next week.
Yeah, it'll be a good one.
The challenges for you and for the program, because I know Brooks County from the FOOTBALL. That's my baseline. Yep. With Coach Freeman, Coach McFather. I go back a ways, and so I've known what sports can mean to Quitman. For those that don't know where Quitman is, it's about 20 minutes of a drive kind of west of Valdosta. So like if you get off at the main Valdosta exit with all the hotels and everything before you see Lowndes High, you go the other way, you go east, and then like to the big intersection right there at the jail, you turn left, and then you go toward Quitman, if I remember correctly.
Turn right at the jail. You go towards Quitman there. Right in between, right in the middle of Thomasville and Valdosta.
Right. And
small little farm town called Quitman.
And I love what you guys get to do there at Veterans Memorial from an American football perspective. How much of a challenge has it been to build this program on the field and off? Because I know that there are other sports that folks naturally gravitate toward when it comes to viewing habits and engagement and everything. How much of a challenge has it been?
It's a challenge, but I think it's a challenge for any single A school. Like you said, smallest division, so it's a challenge that every single one of us are going to have. You got multiple sports going on. You have a very small, hand-selected group of kids, and you're trying to share them between 3 or 4 different sports. So it's tough, but I really do think in all of our sports we have great coaches here at Brooks County, and we are pretty strong believers in participation, and, all of us coaches respect each other, and we work through our schedules, and, we want the best for our student athletes and, allow them to participate in everything they want to. So yes, it is a challenge, but I think we have a great team here at Brooks County. I think we do a really, really good job of overcoming those challenges.
And at the same time, I know that if you don't know who the Galvez family are, and I say that in the plural, you certainly find out in short order. I know that Hillary, the senior, got off to a hot start. And when you have yet another Galvez who's a rising sophomore, and Stephanie, that's a great gravitating point for you in the program to sit there and say, hey, these are the kind of players that we can develop in this program. Because I think out of the blocks, I think you had like 6 different goal scorers, and Hillary had like 11 of them. So, it was you got a lot of balance from a lot of different places, both upperclassmen and underclassmen.
Yeah, so it's funny because, I always tell I'm very close with the Galvez family. We got Galvez boys that play soccer. I've had them play for me, and they've graduated. I got young ones. I got a freshman, a sophomore, and now senior. They're an amazing family. I always say I can't get rid of the Galvezes. So they're always with me, and it's a good family to have stuck to you. But yeah, you're right. So Hillary's played for me. That'll be my first freshman I see graduate because I've been here 4 years. So a little sad to see her go. She's always been my top goal scorer. She is phenomenal at soccer. Stephanie is also, she's got that Galvez blood. She's also phenomenal. And I also have another Galvez that she's actually never played soccer. This is her first year. She's a freshman, and she has made great progress, and that's just that Galvez blood. But yeah, I think we'll be fine. I'm only losing 2 seniors. I have a very big sophomore class. I have 11 sophomores on my team, and they're all really, really good players. So we're in a pretty good spot here for girls soccer at Brooks County.
And one of the other things I noticed that you're not afraid to go up against the big dogs, whether it's in area scheduling or what have you. I mean, I saw the schedule and it's like Irwin is on there, Atco is on there. It is, you're not afraid to play anybody, but the way that you look at it, I guess, is that you can't grow unless you see how you measure up against those top ranked teams year in and year out. So was it easy to sit there and schedule those folks to sit there and it's like, yeah, I want to see where I am as a program? Did they understand where you were coming from?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're stuck with Irwin and Atkinson. That's our region, but we do schedule teams like Bainbridge, Thomasville, Valdosta, Fitzgerald. We try to schedule those bigger schools just to prepare us. If we can, hang in there with those bigger 2, 3, 7A schools, playoffs will be a breeze for us if we're just facing single A schools. So, yeah, and I think they see where we're coming from. I think those bigger schools, they see us, our boys team and now our girls team, and they don't look at us as a single A school. They look at us and they'll tell their teams like, hey, you guys can't go in there acting like this is about to be an easy school. We got dog mentality at Brooks County, all our sports, and doesn't matter who we go up against. We're gonna give 100% and we're gonna compete.
Yeah, and you mentioned the boys side. Boys get Lincoln County, if I'm not mistaken, today.
Yes, sir.
In the second round, low right as you fill out your brackets in pen. When you look at the boys program, let me get your feedback on them. You mentioned them briefly, but the boys program, same thing. It's like they're going in there, they're getting into the second round of the tournament. Lincoln County, we followed their progress and what they've been able to do under Coach Homskis and that group the last handful of seasons. And so I think it's a really cool microcosm of where the sport is going, because you look at the football FOOTBALL Fridays in the fall, and in Class A, you look at Brooks, you look at Lincoln County, and now you're seeing that in the FUTBOL. And I just think that it's a cool extension of what we're used to seeing, and now you get to expose it in other sports. And that matchup today, Lincoln and Brooks, you're thinking, man, that's a great single-A playoff game in the fall, and it gets to be a great single-A playoff game in the spring.
Yeah, starting off hot. I like it. I like our chances too. I think our boys side got, I don't want to be overconfident, but I think we got a little lucky with the side of the bracket we're on, and we have a very, very strong boys team. We have a very, very strong boys coach, I think we got a good run this year, and I think we're going to make it pretty deep here. With the boys team this year, we've had a lot of struggles with injuries. Midway through the season, we had 2 of our starters injured, and now even our first playoff game, I think we still won. I think the ending score was like 8-0, 7-0, something like that, and we had 4 of our starters out injured. We had bench players that played maybe 2 games all year starting for us, and that just goes to show our depth is good. Those younger guys who didn't get to play much this year, they still stepped up, and we still won our first playoff game 7-8-0, whatever that score ended up being. But yeah, today I think we got our injured players back and we're full force. So I'm very, very confident we'll get through this game today as well.
Last question for you, and thanks for hanging out. And I'll shoot you an email with some other questions and things like that. Sure. But when you have questions, considering this is your 4th year there at Brooks, and you're growing a program and you're part of a growing program on both boys and girls side, who do you call for advice when you're trying to if I've got a question about whether formations or day-to-day administration, physios, all those kinds of things, when you have those kinds of questions as you're building this program down there in Class A, who do you call?
I got a couple names that come to mind. The biggest one is Coach Thomas. He's become one of my best friends. We worked together at the elementary school PE teachers. Now he's in admin role, still coaching the boys team. And, he bounces off me. I bounce off him. We built this program together. He got here a year before I did, and he was running both the boys and girls team, and kind of struggling a little bit to, manage both teams. And then I got here, and we feed off each other. We both love soccer. He's a diehard Arsenal fan. I'm a diehard Real Madrid fan. So we'll butt heads about that a little bit. But besides that, tactics, formation, if I'm considering who to start, he's considering who to start. We bounce off of each other very, very well. We make a great team. So that's my number one go-to is Coach Thomas. My number two, I think I've been very, very blessed with our athletic directors we've had. Like me and you were emailing, we had Zach Grage here for a couple of years, and he was absolutely phenomenal. Big community guy. He was a big reason why we built this program and why me and Coach Thomas stuck around and we worked so hard was, his help and stuff. Him leaving, unfortunate, but very, very blessed to have another athletic director step in and be just as good with Reggie Lee. I mean, he's been phenomenal as well. He stepped in halfway through the year, didn't miss a beat, has been there for us. So yeah, just athletic directors. We've been blessed to have two great ones this year. So yeah, those would be the people I bounce off of for any advice going forward or anything like that.
Fantastic. So if anyone is within radius, any one of those counties, if anywhere from Cairo to Valdosta, if you have nothing going on, what time's kick today?
It should be at 5:30.
So 5:30 kick. And is it at Veterans or is it at someplace else?
It's in Brooks.
Okay.
Yep.
So 5:30 kick. If you're within the radius, go. You're done at work. You wrap up work at 5 o'clock. You drive to Quitman, 20 minutes. You're there. Watch the match. It's a great playoff matchup on the boys' side. Great girls' season as well for Brooks County. Team 3 out of Area 1 into the playoffs. Coach, I'm glad we were able to catch up. This will not be the last time we catch up. I'm glad that things are going well down there in Quitman, and we always like to kind of showcase what's going on with great growing programs like yours down there at Brooks County. So give everyone our best, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Yes, sir. And please reach out next year. We're moving up a division, so we'll be in 2A with Thomasville, Fitzgerald, Jeff Davis, all them. So we love the competition. We're excited for it. So
wow, but there's some
that's football, that's soccer, that's basketball. We're excited for it.
Man, that's some good stuff. All right. Well, we're not done catching up anyway, but I will definitely be catching up with you next season. Be safe. We'll catch up soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me.
There he goes. Coach Smith down at Brooks on the girls' side. Class A D2. For those of you filling out your brackets, I'll go ahead and bring my bracket into play here. So, all right. So here's the bracket. Let me see if I can shine it to where you can see it and not be blinded. So this is the bracket right now in Class A D2 here in the state of Georgia. And the matchup we're talking about is right here. Brooks County and LOA. Brooks County and LOA was the matchup, number 10 LOA, below 500. We're going to catch up with LOA as they get ready for Screven next week. And it is an up-and-coming program like Joseph Smith's got there at Brooks. They make it in, and you heard about the progression that they've had. And now they learn a lesson in round number 2 against the number 10 ranked team in Lake Oconee Academy, losing 4-0. But mentions the Galvez family and what the Galvez family means to Trojan soccer. And so it is LOA and Screven. That is low left in your brackets as you're following along here in Class A Division 2. Now, that was great. I'm glad we were able to catch up with him. And that's what we kind of like to do here, whether it's at Red Clay at noon or not. And it's an opportunity for us to kind of share the state with the rest of the state. There are a lot of folks in the bigger cities that may not necessarily know how programs are growing and evolving. And to be able to reach out to Coach down there in Quitman and find out how things are growing there, not just on the girls' side with Coach Smith, but once again on the boys' side as well. And they've got that big matchup today, but just how the program is growing in general. And the fact that they schedule Valdosta, I mean, that's another one of those cool matchups, because remember, in the Valdosta program, we've caught up with them in Red Clay. We've caught up with Lowndes in Red Clay to find out about how those 4 programs are growing as well in a currently 7A environment. And so you're going up against 7A schools, and you're going up against Atco, who is ranked, Thomasville, who is ranked number 1. And you end up with, I think, in the losses against those top-ranked teams, Atco, Irwin, so that's then Thomasville going into the Lake Oconee Academy game. You had given up on the year 50 goals. 37 of those in those matchups against Thomasville, Atkinson County, and Irwin County. So you're in the process of learning about what life is like in Area 1 on the girls' side. But you wrap up the season at 10-7, 6-4 in Class A Division II in Region 2. And then they do areas to determine playoffs and things. 4-3 at home, 6-4 away from home. But yeah, in the you gave up 37 goals of the 50 against those highly ranked teams that you're scheduling to see where you are in the process. And so it's very, very cool. And so it's it's a bit of you schedule yourself and you try to figure out where you are in the growth. And so it's all good. And so Coach Thomas is trying to log in and figure out if the firewalls will behave at River Ridge. And so it was it is it's one of those chances where sometimes firewalls behave and sometimes they don't. And so I'm trying to send a note to him as well. If there's any way that he can log in, that'd be great. And if not, then we'll catch up with him. Then if you can, that'd be great. If you can't, then we'll see him tonight. Once again, McIntosh and River Ridge at 7 o'clock on the network. SoccerDownHere.net, go to the Listen tab. You hit Listen, and then you have our 3 players with the podcasts from the individual segments. Then you have also our 2 live channels, SDH 1 and 2. And then it is an opportunity to see whichever one is live. Because there have been times during the high school season where we've had 1 and 2 going at the same time, dictating whichever live event's going on. You'll see a big red live button going on. And that's where the match is. So I think this will be on SDH 1. We don't have anything competing with it tonight. So go to soccerdownhere.net/listen. And you'll see the player and the live button, and that'll be where we have McIntosh and River Ridge tonight. Jason and I will be there, possibly Drew, before he heads over to England. Then we're thinking about matches on Friday. Sorry, I'm sending a note to Coach Thomas as we go here. Then, if I could spell the word catch, and I'm sorry that this is incredibly amazing live television. So let's see if the firewalls let's see. So if the firewalls still block you out. So this is the note that I'm sending the coach. Let's see. So we'll catch up tonight at MHS. Let's see. So yeah, it does happen. Okay. All right. So let's see. So not a surprise. It does happen. Let's see. So if you can, we'll catch up. Let's see. Let's see. So if you can make it. So if Coach can make it, that'd be great. So tonight it is a matchup of defending champ and Blue Bloods. So that's River Ridge and McIntosh tonight. And so then, like I said, we'll be there a little before 7 on the air. If Drew can make it before he heads over to England. And then Drew's going to go see Manchester United and all that kind of stuff. So he's going on a field trip. This would be his last on-air date before he goes overseas, I think, for 2 weeks. And so we'll catch up with him there. Let's see. Well, let's see. Make it, if I could spell the word it, if I can make it through the firewalls. I know this is incredibly amazing television here. All right. So make it through the firewalls. We'll catch up. If the firewalls still block you out, we'll catch up tonight at at McIntosh. If I could spell the word worries, then we'd be okay. So nothing like live guest wrangling while we're doing it. So, all right. So that is all right. So I'm going back and forth with Coach Thomas, and hopefully we can catch up with him for a handful of minutes, and then we can go from there. Okay. So at noon, it is red clay, and we will go over the rest of the brackets for you and let you know what's going on in and around everything. So tonight, we mentioned all the juice boxes that are going on with Open Cup and mentioned all of the activity going on. LAFC is taking on Toluca tonight, and we will obviously we'll keep an eye on that one as well. Big night on the high school side. We'll start that at noon, go through all the brackets, go through all the matchups, and we'll catch up with McIntosh at 12:30. I think it's at least one coach. It might be two. And so we'll catch up with them for about 15 minutes or so, and then we'll get them ready so they can be in their match day preps for the matchup against River Ridge tonight on the network, and really looking forward to it. So once again, thanks to Coach Smith for dialing us up and letting us know what's going on down there at Brooks County. And darn the firewalls. Darn the firewalls. Jose Mourinho refusing to comment on his links to Real Madrid. And then the World Cup venues are detailing plans for extreme heat in July. And in those, working with FIFA to protect players and spectators, conducting heat risk assessments, enhancing shade, cooling zones, and water access, stationing medical teams for the tournament spanning 16 cities. Officials warn that extreme heat could threaten athletes, fans, workers, and officials. This is from the AP. And the hottest month of the year. They mentioned wet bulbs. Okay, so this is a lot of stuff that we already knew, basically, but now you have people talking about it. Federations created a heat illness mitigation and management task force made of medical and operational experts ahead of the games, finalizing heat risk alert systems, coordinating stadium medical action plans, and other standardized guidance. And so that's why you do have some of the matches that are as late as they are to kind of mitigate the heat and also be there in the zones of viewing that are desired by home markets and things like that. So, all right. So trending rumors, gossip, rumor, and innuendo here for a bit. Atleti willing to turn down bids of £130 million for Julian Alvarez, according to Sky. Spanish clubs are resolute in their willingness to keep Alvarez, who's subject to interest from Arsenal, PSG, and Barcelona. And an offer of that magnitude would not tempt the club to accept. 19 goals, all comps. Barcelona have identified Joao Pedro as a striker option this summer if they fail to land Alvarez from Atleti. That's according to Cadena Ser, reporting that the 24-year-old's on the club's radar, and he signed for Chelsea last summer from Brighton in a £60 million deal. Brazil's international contract at Stamford Bridge runs through 2033, and it remains to be seen if an exit so soon is possible. Barcelona also keen on securing a second loan spell for Marcus Rashford at the end of the year, according to Florian Plettenberg at Sky Germany. 45 times, all comps, 13 and 13 in his time spent for Manchester United. Permanent signing clause worth €30 million is in the loan deal. Barca are not keen on triggering it and would prefer a second loan stint instead. Talks with United claim to be ongoing, and they'd like to keep Rashford for another year. Nicholas Jackson being monitored by Juve and AC Milan ahead of a potential transfer switch, according to Plettenberg. Striker spent the season on loan with Bayern, played backup to Harry Kane. Will not be triggering the permanent transfer clause, meaning he'll return to Chelsea in the summer. Remains to be seen whether Chelsea would be keen on keeping Jackson or not. Teams eyeing up a switch for the transfer window if he is available. Liverpool plotting a move for Napoli's defender Sam Bukima. Center back on the club's radar for the summer, claiming team talk. 27-year-old has made 30 appearances for the Serie A side this year, having joined the Azzurri from Bologna last summer. Liverpool already set to welcome Jeremy Jacquet from Rennes, and Ibrahima Konate is reportedly signing a contract extension. Newcastle open to an exit for Anthony Gordon this summer, with Chelsea and Bayern Munich interested. Arsenal have been monitoring the England international. However, the report adds Liverpool will not revive their interest in the winger. That's from The Athletic and David Ornstein. Kobe Mainoo has agreed to terms to a new contract at United. The deal is set to be signed until 2031, according to Fabrizio Romano. Marc Cucurella open to leaving Chelsea if, quote, an attractive offer, end quote, is made this summer. Barcelona among those that he would join if the opportunity arrives. Well, duh. Mundo Deportivo. Ekram Konur, talking Memphis Depay, he says he could leave Corinthians, Olympiacos, Panathinaikos, AEK, and PAOK, all showing interest. Manchester United scheduled meetings this week over departures in the summer. Onana, Rashford, Xerxes, and Ugarte among those free to leave the club, according to the three-letter paper. Feyenoord's Ayase Ueda, emerging as a target for Spurs and Leeds, growing number of Premier League clubs following the 27-year-old, according to Team Talk. Wolves midfielder Marshall Munetzi is of interest to Forest. Paris FC also interested in a move after the end of the loan deal at the club from our friends at Foot Mercato. Juve in the market for Stuttgart playmaker Angelo Stiller amid links with a potential exit. That's from Tutto Sport. AC Milan open to an exit for versatile forward Christopher Nkunku just 1 year after he joined permanently from Chelsea, and that is from Tutto Mercato Web. It said TMW, and I was like, who's that? And it's Tutto Mercato Web. So that is that's your rundown of the gossip, rumor, and innuendo. Ben Jacobs has been hot on the Mihailo Mudryk trail. FA has banned the Chelsea winger for 4 years for an anti-doping offense, the maximum punishment. He went to CAS, meaning Mudryk, not Ben. He went to CAS filing documents on the 25th of February in 2026. CAS confirmed the Ukrainian is now appealing against the imposed period of ineligibility of 4 years, adding that the parties are, quote, currently exchanging written submissions and a hearing is yet to be scheduled. Chelsea have declined comment. And basically, if Mudryk is still banned, Shakhtar Donetsk is out of their 30 million pounds. Provisionally suspended by the FA in December of 24 after a urine sample tested positive for the meldonium while on international duty with Ukraine. FA subsequently charged Mudryk in June of last year following analysis of his B sample. Why did it take 6 months? Suspension prevents him from training with Chelsea, and as a result, he's been renting non-league side Uxbridge's facilities. He's always denied wrongdoing, has hired Morgan Sports Law to represent him, same firm who represented Paul Pogba. Hearing yet to be sanctioned, looking to have the ban fully overturned or reduced in a worst-case scenario. So this was the case for Pogba, who went from 4 years to 18 months. Parties are currently exchanging all of their written materials, according to Ben when he appeared on TalkSport. If Mudryk's appeal resulted in a reduction, he could return to football by the end of next year. Ben says if he serves the full 4-year ban because CAS upheld the FA decision, Chelsea future, maybe even his future in football, becomes in doubt. Stressed it's unclear what view CAS will take on the alleged use of the banned substance meldonium. Mudryk denies taking anything at least knowingly. So that's the latest on Mihailo Mudryk. And remember, this was an 8-year deal, and I think it was $60 million in the transfer. And so that way Chelsea could budget it out over the terms of the deal and not have to take the hit all at once. So Mudryk under appeal at CAS. Kobe Mainoo once again signing the deal this morning. Improved salary makes him a top 10 earner at the club. FIFA Council has unanimously approved a consultation process for a proposed regulatory obligation that senior club teams must have at least one homegrown player from the U20 or U21 on the field. All relevant stakeholders will be approached before proposals submitted to the FIFA Council within the next 12 months. So keep an eye on that. Several clubs exploring signing Harry Wilson, who's as a free agent as it stands in the summer. Villa is interested there. We mentioned the Millie Bright retirement. That happened like at 6 o'clock this morning, our time. Immediate effect, 12 years, 314 appearances, 20 trophies. Staying at the club as a trustee of the foundation, starting a role as an ambassador. Marking her retirement May the 16th at their WSL final match of the season against Manchester United. FIFA Council also has approved a move to cancel single yellow cards after the group stage and then again after the quarters at the World Cup. Players leaving the field of play in direct protest at a referee's decision and players covering their mouths when speaking to opponents in situations of confrontation will also be red carded. Financial distribution for the World Cup to all member associations has increased to $871 million. Prep money's up $1 million to $2.5 million. Qualification money increased $1 million to $10 million. Additional team contributions totaling over $16 million. So that is the the very, very busy day of Ben Jacobs. And we like it when we can grab and have Ben on the show to break everything down when it comes to anything and everything going on in the world of soccer. Let me say hi to everybody who came in this morning. And Wiley, thank you for the Discord and helping out Dell, because Dell needs to get in. So Ricky's mentioning the final draw. Morning footy, 9 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. We will be walking along with them in that to determine, okay, who's going what and doing what where. 6 matches tonight. Starting bright and early and going for most of the evening. Last moment, I think, is at 9:30. 9 of the 12 teams are Major League Soccer. So we'll keep an eye on all of that tonight. And morning Abby, morning Dell. Dell has a link to the picture/video of the lunging by Kerwin Vargas. So let's see. So morning Ricky, morning Abby, morning Dell. And I'm trying to see who else is in here this morning. Morning David. CBS guys were a big oof at the beginning, clearly biting their tongue not to cause tournament trouble. Abby, Jack Neely is Crown Legacy. Jack Neely is Crown Legacy. He is not one of the first team players. So, and let's see. So, David and Abby and Dell and Lokeville. Lokeville says 3 away wins. Feels good. Yes, it does. Morning, Abby. Okay. So that is the rundown of the morning. I think we hit everything that was going on overseas. It's kind of a light morning overseas, but we did hit the headlines. Obviously, one of the bigger headlines having to do with the Afghan women's national team. Very, very cool stuff that's there. Darn the firewalls at River Ridge in the Cherokee County school system because of not being able to catch up with Coach Thomas. And so we'll catch up with him tonight. And it's McIntosh and River Ridge, 7 o'clock on the network, coming on a little before. Jason will have the call for you. We will all be there. And we're also planning and plotting our matchup later in the week. And so I think we're going to have a matchup on Friday, and we will let you know what where we're going to be on Friday. We think we have an idea. It looks like it might be one of 2 places, but we'll let you know. And so it looks like Friday we're going to have another matchup here in the second round. But Red Clay coming up at noon, presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente, and we will break it all down for you there. Brackets, joined by McIntosh coaches at 12:30, and we will set that up for you and get you ready for the matchup coming up tonight on the network when it comes to McIntosh and River Ridge on the boys' side. Round 2 as you fill out your brackets. Fantastic matchup, and we can't wait to be down there at McIntosh to bring it to you. So for everybody here at SDH, thanks for dropping by, as you always do, on a Wall Pass Wednesday. Enjoy your matches, however you consume them, whether it is Champions League, Honduran League, Open Cup, CONCACAF, all in one place, and high school here at SDH. For everybody here, to all of you there, we'll catch up with you a little less than an hour, top of the hour. Red Clay Soccer Report presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente, going over the high school games. Since it is the end of this show on a Wall Pass Wednesday, this means I get to do this. We'll see you at noon Eastern time and let you know what's going on. As always, great to see you. Played safe. End of the show. Enjoy.